week 7 of the bet. I am recording this on a late Sunday afternoon, and this week it feels like a week that has lasted a month. It's a week where everything has converged, like the universe took every identity question I've been dancing around and said, let's go ahead and resolve all of these right now. Every journey starts with a choice, and mine is a bet. For 1 year, I'm gambling on energy over strategy. No more forcing and no pushing. Just the courage to show up and see what happens when reality becomes my playground. This isn't a podcast. It's a real-time experiment in the lab of my life. Welcome to the bet. So back up to Wednesday morning. I wake up and I'm doing my Wim Hof breath work, which I say like it's something I do every day, but honestly, it's not. I did it for a while, I don't know, years ago, and then pretty much dropped it. But this week, I have been playing around again with it. I'm doing 3 rounds of Wim Hof right when I wake up every day before I do anything else. And if you've tried it before, you know what it's like. It's totally different than any other kind of breath work I've ever done before. Whenever I do it, my body gets really tingly and I get these icy cold patches that show up in random spots in my body. And I decided to start doing this again because it really helps with oxygenating the body. And when you want to feel really safe, oxygen is like a biological safe word for the body and the brain. Because if I'm being real, I have been dipping in and out of some pretty big fear loops ever since that curveball I talked about a couple weeks ago. I still can't really talk about it fully publicly, but it's major. Like, I couldn't ask for a better curveball if I want to change the stakes of this experiment. It's that kind of major. Anyway, Mike wakes up a little later, and as I'm passing him in the hallway, he says, "What's up?" And I'm like, please, God, don't let me snap at this man because of my shitty fear loop. And I'm trying to just hold it together. That the best I can do is say, I do not need to be around people right now. I need to go for a walk. And it wasn't totally snappy, but it wasn't warm and welcoming either. Just very contracted. And while I'm out walking, something hits me. Remember a few weeks ago when I was talking about my new class at the university that I'm teaching on clinical foundations and mindset, how I was standing in front of 47 grad students, feeling like I was pouring my soul out to this sea of blank faces. That was probably, 5 or 6 weeks ago. I remember walking out of that class after just pouring all I had into them and saying, I just want one student to tell me that this class is making a difference. Well, this week, out of the blue, I think I got 5 separate emails. 5 from students telling me how much they're enjoying this class. Plus, I was grading their reflection papers, and multiple students wrote things like, I've been meaning to tell you how much this class is shifting things for me. And if it wasn't for this class, I wouldn't believe in my ability to go forward into our clinical rotations. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So 7 weeks of what looked like nothing, 7 weeks of me holding on to this vision that I was teaching the most valuable class they would ever have. That's the energy I was showing up in. 7 weeks of flat faces and no reactions. And then, boom, suddenly I'm getting evidence everywhere. And here's why this matters so much right now. From the very beginning of this experiment, I've said, I'm betting everything on energy over strategy. And this class I developed at the university is, I think, my first piece of commanding evidence that energy works. Because even blank-faced, bleary-eyed Gen Z students are responding to my energetic frequency. And I can't tell you how much I need this proof right now. Because if it can happen in that arena, then it can and will happen in this business. I needed to see that when I hold the energy of something and I pair it with meaningful work, results follow. Because with everything else that's happening, the curveball, the business decisions, all of it, I need evidence that this energy thing actually works. And here it is, 7 weeks late and also right on time. I've seen this pattern so many times. I know this. There's always an energetic gap between when you plant something and when you harvest it. Always. But it's still so easy to forget all of that whenever you're in the thick of it. But what a gift to have that evidence show up in my life this week. So back to Mike for a minute. He and I have been having these very deep conversations all week, really deep, layers upon layers of what's underneath everything. And one of them was about human design. And if you're sitting out there going, human what? I want to give you a bit of context because this conversation gets really interesting. Probably about 4 years ago now. I can't tell you why. I cannot explain it, but I kept getting this ping to study human design. I had no logical reason to point to, but I really felt called to go deep into learning all about human design. So I got certified in it. I was the only person in this certification class who was just doing it because she wanted to do it. It's not like I had any business plans around doing it. I had no plans to teach it. I had no plans to become a human design reader, none of that. I was just so drawn to studying energy. Human design is an entire system that maps out your energetic blueprint through a network of these 64 different energetic gates. And it studies how different gates make different circuits in the body. It's like this comprehensive system for understanding how energy flows through you specifically. We're all different. But on the other hand, human design has the most bonkers origin story you've ever heard. The quick and dirty version is this guy, Robert Krakauer. He goes to Ibiza in 1987, and for 8 days straight, he has what he calls a download from the voice. 8 days, no sleep. He's just receiving this massive download of a system that combines all these different modalities. The I Ching, Kabbalah, the chakra system, the planets, and quantum physics. Sounds completely insane, right? It's like total quack territory. But here's what's wild. Science continues to demonstrate things we didn't have explanations for previously. People have mapped the 64 gates in human design to match the 64 codons in our DNA. And they are showing how these energetic expressions are also expressed in our genes. And I think that's wild. The same numeric patterns also show up in the I Ching hexagrams, which is an ancient sort of technology. So it's crazy to me how everything replicates around these same numbers. Anyway, I get certified, and then I find myself tying all that energetic work with my mindset work. I think human design as a tool is really useful for showing us what we're energetically designed to be. And I think mindset work gives us the tools to build the neural networks to support that design, and also to let go of the mental maps for things that do not serve us. So That intersection of studying personal energetics plus neural mapping plus identity work, that all became the birth of Irresistible Mind, my company. Human design is enormously helpful for uncovering what we should be building neural networks around and what we can just go ahead and let go of completely. And it also helps tell us what type of identity maybe that we might want to step into. But here's what's really revolutionary about it. It takes decision making away from the mind entirely. And when we take decisions away from the job description of the mind, then we free up the mind to play with all kinds of ideas and thoughts and beliefs that support us. That's where the neural mapping process comes in. The mind becomes the tool for programming your reality instead of the tool for making decisions. Now, most people do not think of human design this way. Most people use it for relationships or career guidance or understanding their personality. But I'm in the camp that believes the universe is entirely mental. The universe is mental. If you want the full download on that, go listen to Memo episode 167, Universal Laws Decoded. I go deep, deep, deep into this concept in that episode. But basically, I believe we create our reality through our minds. And I use human design in this way because it gives me a system for how to program my universe through my mind based on my specific energetic blueprint. So, after saying all of that, it appears that I really am a quack because I take human design to an entirely different edge than most people. But here's the thing, my own human design fully supports this. I've got so much circuitry in my energetics that's all about ingenuity and bringing information to people in an entirely new way. My design literally supports me being a weirdo about human design. So I'm telling Mike that I'm planning to do this human design deep dive group in November. I'm taking just 6 people for 30 days and really going deep into their individual designs. And I say to him, I just don't want to be seen as some kind of quack. He looks at me and goes, who the fuck cares? Quack like a duck. Be the best looking duck in the pond. And I'm like, what? And he says, you cannot identify yourself based on other people. You have to know your identity based on what you know about yourself. And as much as I know that's true, as I'm sitting there having this conversation with him, I can't help but think of my parents finding out about this. And I say to him, think of my parents, because they are very traditional. What are they going to tell their friends? It's very easy for them to tell people that I'm a professor. That is legitimate. They can tell their friends that. And he's like, how is that even remotely your problem? And he's right. He's right. It's not my problem that they can't tell their friends about human design, right? But these stories, these fears about legitimacy, they run so deep. Then Mike says something else. He said something about human design being a cash grab. And I kept correcting him, saying, it's not a cash grab. And finally he clarifies, I'm not saying cash grab. I mean, it's a run rate. It's a run rate business. And I had never heard of that. So basically, run rate means predictable income, money you can count on coming in while you build the thing you really want to build. And that reframe, that helped change something for me because I'm having this other situation with Memo, my personal trainer for the Mind program. And we've got 182 audios now, been making them twice a week for almost 2 years. It's become part of my weekly habit, my rhythm. And it's time to pause production. At least pause it in terms of consistently putting out 2 episodes each week. Not because it's not working, but because it's complete. It's a body of work that can more than fully stand on its own now. but it's also become a part of me. If I look at the person who started that bet on herself and the person speaking these words right now, Memo was the bridge that got me here. So part of me doesn't want to let go. Part of me doesn't even know who I am without making Memo episodes. And I'm sure I will still drop episodes in here and there or when I want to do a special series, but I can't keep pouring myself into something that is ready to be complete. I committed to do that for a year, and I've more than delivered on that promise. But here's the other factor. I'm also about to go on a podcast tour to talk about Memo. And I don't want to still be creating something that I'm promoting at the same time. I met with a consultant Tuesday and we mapped out all my talking points. And it's time to talk about Memo as a complete creation instead of something that I'm actively making, which actually is going to be a lot more powerful because it is a full system. Oh, and I mentioned something else to Mike about human design, going back on a little pivot here. Human design's prediction for 2027. According to the system, everything mutates in 2027. So as a society, we are going to shift from our current collective hierarchical structures to a much more individual era. Basically, all the systems we've been depending on as a collective are going to start collapsing, start falling away. Anything that you're doing that your heart isn't really in is very likely to get stripped away from you. Only what you're truly aligned with is going to survive. And Mike's like, so we only have 2 years? I'm like, kind of. It's not like it's going to happen overnight, but you can already see how the systems and structures that told us how to be are shifting. We have about 2 years left until there's an even more pronounced shift. But anything we build now that comes from that place of genuine alignment, that's what will make it through the shift. And he goes, then you better get your shit going. And you know what? He's right. No more hiding behind a curtain of respectability. No more worrying about looking legitimate. It's time to be the damn duck, the quack who uses human design to program reality through the mind. The professor who teaches neuroscience by day and energetic circuitry by every other moment she's in. Because I'm the woman who's building a business on pure energy, while I'm also navigating a massive life change that I can't even talk about yet. So everything I've been sensing, everything I've been resisting, it's all pointing to the same thing. Stop trying to fit into containers that were never made for you. So here's what's happening. Memo is shifting to completion mode with impromptu bonus episodes or special series when I get that itch, because I know the itch always comes, and I do love having a container for that expression. The Human Design Deep Dive launches at the end of this month. The podcast tour is under development. And I keep moving forward, teaching my university class from that future vision where students call it their most valuable class. And the curveball from last week, the one I can't fully discuss, it's really doing its best to make all of this feel urgent in a way that's hard to explain. It's like the universe is saying, hey, you're the one who wanted to bet on energy, so here's your chance to go all in. Week 7 for me has been a lesson in legitimacy, in looking at how I'm trying to fit into a vision that other people have of me. While at the same time, I can see very clear evidence that working with my true energy is the real deal. Legitimacy is not about upholding an image. It's something you embody by being exactly who you are. Even if who you are is someone who believes the universe is mental, someone who uses human design as a programming language, and someone who is actively choosing to quack like a duck. The universe has been trying to tell me something all week, all month really, through Mike, through my students, through these converging situations. Stop apologizing for what you are. Stop hiding. Start being the best looking duck in the pond. So next week, I'm sure I'll have updates on all of this, the human design launch, the memo pause, how the podcast tour planning is going, and maybe, depending on how things unfold, more about the curveball. But for now, this is where we are, week 7. Everything changing, everything clarifying, and a big dose of evidence arriving in my lap that energy works. Truly thanking the universe for that. I'm making decisions. I'm not waffling. I'm very proud of myself for that. Just forward motion and embracing my inner quack. Go bet on yourself.